Good afternoon, and welcome to my June 3rd briefing. Today, I want to address the community's understanding that COVID-19 has had an enormous impact on our community for the past few months. We have seen many counties in our state move to phase 2, and we are eager to join them. The governor outlined new guidance on how each county will move phase by phase through the Safe Start plan. Our county's health department and unified command works daily, sometimes hourly, to evaluate the status and the impact of COVID-19 in our communities. The city is closely monitoring this crisis and are involved in constant communication and partnership with local stakeholders to respond to the public health crisis. Right now, we find ourselves in this awkward, agonizing waiting time, awaiting response from the state. The county sent another application to the state for a variance that would allow our county to move to phase 2 Monday afternoon. We've been under the stay home, stay health order since March 23rd. Many of us have grown fatigued, and I yearn for normalcy like many of you, and our continued efforts to slow the spread of COVID will help us get there. As this pandemic has changed the way we live our lives, we at the city have remained determined, doing the work the city needs to keep moving forward. We continue to focus on street improvements, our Shoreline master program, and critical regulations update, our new depot restrooms, and supporting our thriving maritime industry and our partnership with the Port of Anacortes. The Grandview Cemetery expansion and continued commitment for safe water and wastewater utility. This is only a few of the examples of the work that keeps this city moving every day. We thank you for doing your part, staying healthy, staying home, and we're eager to get back to work and start dialing up our economy. At the city, we've been closely monitoring the governor's plan to reopen businesses and modifying the social distancing measures. Right now, the county remains in phase 1 of the Safe Start Washington plan. We are not so patiently waiting for a response from the governor's office. The phase 1 business activity guidelines have been issued for car washes, construction, curbside retail, landscape services, outdoor maintenance, certain outdoor recreation, including golf, pet walking, spiritual drive-in services. These businesses can operate on a limited capacity according to the governor's guideline during this phase. We're eager for our business to be able to take advantage of the expanded guidelines in phase 2. Beginning June 8th, regardless of what phase a county is in, all employees will be required to wear a cloth facial covering except when working alone in an office, vehicle, or when the job has no person-to-person interaction. Employers must provide facial coverings, or employees can choose to wear their own facial coverings at work. At the city, we continue to strengthen connections between the business and the community by working with our downtown merchants and restaurants on ideas to help assist with our economic recovery and offer our residents a way to reconnect very soon. Skagit County applied for a variance to enter into phase 2 last Friday and was denied. And the governor and the Department of Health set standards allowing for variances in Safe Start recovery plan. The state as a whole will stay in phase 1 and move to phase 2, county by county. As I just mentioned, the county resubmitted our application on Monday, and based on updated metrics by the state, evaluates applications, COVID-19 activity, health system readiness, testing, contact tracing, and protecting the vulnerable. Our county has a robust public health infrastructure that's been in place before COVID-19. Residents can trust that our healthcare system is prepared. We continue to formulate decisions based on science and data. The new guidance requires that the county has less than 25 cases per 1,000 residents over a 14-day period. In the letter we submitted to the state, the Public Health Department cited 5.4 cases per 100,000 for the most recent 14-day period in the county. We have confidence in our robust contact tracing and testing, and we're prepared to track and control any outbreaks or surges in cases in the county. The application has support from the local health officer, the local board of health, our local hospitals, and our county commissioners. In the application, the county has the capacity at the hospitals and adequate PPE supplies to keep healthcare workers safe. The request to the governor is based on data and confidence in our healthcare infrastructure and commitment to social distancing and our concern for the impact of the economy. And so we wait. Business activity guidelines for industries allowed to resume or expand during Phase 2 will be issued for construction activities, professional photography services, pet grooming, personal services including cosmetologists, hairstylists, and others, real estate activities, limited in-store retail, as well as manufacturing operations. Religious and faith organizations can host up to 25 of their capacity or 50 individuals, whatever is less, as well as conduct in-home services of 5 people. Once we enter Phase 2, fitness and training activities can resume, but is limited to groups of 5 trainees or less. Professional services such as office-based occupations, certain outdoor activities in small groups, as well as limited non-essential travel. Higher education activities can resume in limited capacity. Traditional dining restaurants and public houses will open with less than 50% capacity, with table sizes of less than 5 people, and there will be no bar seating. Please closely follow the new protocols and procedures being issued by the governor to assist we get back to business safely. Currently, the governor's office still recommends staying home, but if you do go out, wear a mask, stay 6 feet apart, and wash your hands. We must be cautious as we move through Phase 2 on our Safe Start plan. Phase 3 will happen at least 3 weeks after we enter Phase 2. This phase will bring partial reopening of our in-person city services at the city library, museum, and city hall. We're working on installing plexiglass shields at the public-facing counters and a way to assure both the employees and the public are able to once again enjoy city services in person. Non-essential travel will fully resume and nearly all other business activities will resume. Outdoor sports activities with less than 50 people, as well as an increase in services at restaurants, taverns, gyms, and movie theaters. Phase 4 is a full return to public interactions. While I know this situation has been extremely difficult, we all look forward to seeing our friends and our families soon. And it's important to know that physical distancing and good hygiene practices will continue through Phase 4. Our city employees are the cornerstone behind our essential services. While many facilities remain closed, such as our library, the senior center, the museum, and city hall, we're working on ways to reach you virtually and prepare for our return in-person city services. The Anacortes Senior Activity Center will reopen in Phase 4. The center is working on ways to increase outreach and communication with the community during Phases 2 and 3. On June 30th, the city will be seeing the retirement of Sally Hill as the director of the Senior Center. Her commitment and devotion to the center has made it a cornerstone of our community, and we're grateful for her many, many years of service. The library is gearing up for summer reading, which will include a virtual program, teen workshops, fun reading goals, and crafts. Sign-ups begin June 15. Tonight, I hope you'll join me for a special Mayor's Story Time at 6 p.m. Then we'll go under the sea at 7 p.m. and join our very own Public Works Director, Fred, scuba diving along with our City Attorney, Darcy, as they explore the Rosario Beach in the libraries Together We Discover episode this week. As we move into phase 2, our library will start offering curbside pickup of books so you can get them while the library is closed. The library staff is already working on a plan to offer this service, and with state guidelines now in place, the library is excited to start offering this service in the next few weeks. Check the library website and social media for details coming soon. We're all eager to get new books, and the library will get them to you safely and as quickly as possible. Access Anacortes, our fiber internet, and the Anacortes Public Library have also partnered to provide drive-in Wi-Fi at the Anacortes Public Library facility. This free public broadband internet access is available at no charge. This is part of a statewide initiative in response to the impact of COVID-19 to provide drive-in Wi-Fi hotspots with free temporary emergency internet access for Washingtonians to be used for job searches, telehealth, telework, unemployment filing, and census participation. The Parks Department has been thinking about how our services will change when we move into phase 2. We're preparing to reopen some of our park amenities while reminding our residents and our visitors that physical distancing is necessary as we begin to reopen these activities. They have been working diligently to organize a reopening that's in line with the governor's Safe Start plan. We will see Washington Park Campground reopen with limited capacity. Picnicking will be able to resume. The ball fields will reopen with a limit of 5 people gathering for activities. Pickleball and tennis courts will reopen with a limit of 4 per court. Basketball courts will reopen with a limit of 4 per court. The Parks Department will continue to plan out what phased reopening will look like through phases 3 and 4. Please continue to practice social distancing as we go through these phases. The city's Parks Department continues to work hard on several projects during these unprecedented times. Work at the Grandview Cemetery is in progress. We're waiting for a conditional use permit process to go through the City Council, following an opportunity for the public to comment on the expansion. This proposed expansion will take on 5 acres of the 11.5-acre cemetery, creating room for an additional 2,800 grave sites. The boxcar has been removed and the depot restroom has been ordered. We are waiting engineering drawings so we can start the next phase on this project. We intend to complete the project of the new depot restrooms by the end of October. Our emergency services staff provides medical care to our residents in a fast, reliable, and skillful and compassionate way. Prior to responding to each emergency call, the EMS professionals put on face masks, face shields, gowns, gloves, shoe protection, and immediately following each call, the entire ambulance is cleaned and decontaminated, and the diligence of these outstanding men and women is something to continue to be grateful for. All the pictures you're seeing here today were taken before COVID-19. The fire department continues its community outreach efforts, and as we move through the phases, we'll be available for our business community as well as our citizens and educational groups in order to promote fire safety and prevention. Thank you to our frontline medical workers for their dedication and providing life-saving services during this COVID-19 pandemic. The Anacortes Police Department responded to approximately 9,500 calls for services in 2019 and has continued to see a steady number of calls through the COVID-19 crisis. The police department continues its strong partnership with the Anacortes School Districts through our School Resource Officer Program. Officer Dot Sauer, or as they call him, Officer Dot, has built positive relationships with our students, our faculty, our parents, and he looks forward to seeing the students back in school once in-person classes resume. Our auxiliary patrol volunteers continue to serve the community through their generous donation of time and commitment to public safety. They logged almost 4,000 volunteer hours in 2019. And this is a wonderful reminder to me of all the ways that this community pitches in to help to ensure the safety of our community and show that Anacortes cares. All these wonderful volunteers have stayed home and stayed safe, and we're looking forward to seeing them all again, probably not until phase 4. Public Works is continuing to provide services in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic: safe, reliable drinking water, collection of trash, recycling, composting, wastewater processing, maintaining and improving our streets, providing street cleaning, are many areas where things remain business as usual for the city and its residents. The Public Works Department also continues its annual plan to slurry seal neighborhood streets, with this year's work beginning on July 13th. Streets to be done this year will mainly be near D Avenue in the center of the city. The city has contracted with an asphalt quality sealers of Anacortes to perform and repair in preparation for the slurry sealing from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday through June 30th. A schedule of specific streets being slurry sealed on specific days will be released in the near future. As you can see, our Public Works Department has not slowed down. We have just adjusted how we do business as usual to provide essential services for our community. Utility billing customers continue to take advantage of our paperless opportunities with the city. In the month of May, our accounts payable department processed 80 auto payments compared to 41 in May of last year. And in May, 60 paper checks were processed compared to 150 last year. In the utility billing, 285 customers have signed up for auto pay since March 1st, with 107 of those sign-ups in the month of May alone. If you haven't signed up for utility billing auto pay yet, you can do so by going to the city's website or just give us a call. Over the next several months, the city will start developing the next biennial budget for the fiscal years 2021 and 2022. There's a great deal of uncertainty in our economy at this point, and we're waiting for more data to use to develop revenue projections, which we will use to build the city's budget. Over the next 2 months, we will receive revenue information that will be instrumental in providing us with a basis to create a budget, and I will work closely with the finance director and the department heads to take our first step in the budget process. This past Monday night, on June 1st, the City Council adopted Ordinance 3071, which authorizes a credit from the state back to the city to be used for affordable housing. This, along with the voted 0.1% sales tax increase that goes in effect July 1st, will provide funding that will be used to fund 3 affordable housing projects. These projects are to be developed by the Anacortes Housing Authority and the Anacortes Family Center. The city will start seeing those revenues in September of this year and will work with the Housing Authority and the Family Center over the next few months to develop agreements for the use of the money to provide housing for vulnerable populations, such as those at risk of being homeless, veterans, senior citizens, and other groups as described by the state. This week, the city will be doing its initial review of applications for the Small Business Stabilization grants to ensure eligibility. Next week's committee of Anacortes business representatives will review those applications. We have received 47 applications for small businesses across the city. These grants will help with the cost of starting your own business back up. And to be eligible for these grants for up to $10,000, you must be a business located in Anacortes with not more than 30 employees. While these remain uncertain times, the city has remained steadfast in their work on both the Shoreline Master Program and the Critical Areas Update. City staff is currently running a video open house presentation on the Shoreline Master Program Update on the Planning, Community, and Economic Development webpage, as well as working with our consultant and the Department of Ecology to prepare for when we can start our public meetings up again. Staff continues to respond to questions over the phone or by email. Staff is also currently working on a video presentation for the Critical Areas Update that will soon be uploaded to the city's website as well. We are continuing our preparation for upcoming public hearings and comments on the Critical Area Regulations Update. The city values our partnership with the Port of Anacortes, and we are happy to report that the continued collaboration between the port and the city goes on even during these uncertain times. Just yesterday, the Port and the City Liaison Committee met to discuss the impact of COVID on the community and ways to continue to support our maritime industry and projects that each agency is working on. With everything going on, it reminds us of how important it is to have the most accurate count in our community so that local, state, and federal governments know where resources are needed in urgent situations like COVID-19. It is your right to complete the census because we all count. I'm extremely proud of Anacortes. We have a 71.2% response rate, and it's not too late if you've not filled out your census. You still can do it at my2020census.gov. It takes no more than 10 minutes. So if you haven't done it, please do it. In other community news, I've been sharing many cancellation of summer events. I want to share a message from Meredith McElmoy regarding the Anacortes Arts Festival in Anacortes. The Anacortes Arts Festival Board has chosen to cancel this year's festival. A September postponement date was considered. However, the risk factor of unknowns are too high. This is not an easy decision. The Arts Festival has a 59-year history in our community and is so important to our artists, our local businesses, and our community. The Arts Festival is already working on ways to support art in our community during and post-COVID. They are looking ahead at creative ways to support artists and art programs until the 2021 Arts Festival on August 6th through August 8th, 2021. Globally, there are 6.2 million cases. The total deaths worldwide are near 375,000 people. 1,129 people have died in the state of Washington from COVID. As we navigate our way forward for our community, we must acknowledge the gravity and the devastation of this virus. In Skagit County, there has been 435 cases, 15 deaths, and 51 people have been hospitalized. The curve is flattening in the county and across the state. However, please remain vigilant, wear your mask, and stay physically distanced. Island Hospital has tested 1,229 people and currently reports 29 positive cases for Anacortes. The total positive hospitalized cases is 7, and there have been no deaths. Island Hospital currently maintains more than 20% surge capacity and has the ability to care for an increased number of suspected or confirmed COVID hospitalizations. Island Hospital also has greater than 14 days supply of PPE and N95 respirators, surgical masks, face shields, gloves, and gowns. Skagit County's high-volume drive-through testing site has been operating rapid testing in the parking lot at the Skagit Valley College east of McIntyre Hall. This is a critical system in slowing the spread of COVID. Our healthcare workers are tirelessly working to test anyone who wants to be tested, and you can be tested anytime between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. There have been over 3,652 total tests conducted, with 79 positive tests as of May 29th. So now we're at the question and answer portion of my briefing today. Question number 1. Why didn't we start phase 2 on June 1st? On Friday, the governor announced transition to phase 2 would be a county-by-county basis. This means in order to move to phase 2, our county must submit an application that's being reviewed and awaiting approval by the state's health department. And as I stated earlier, we did that on Monday. We submitted actually at 4 p.m. on Monday, and we're awaiting an answer. Question number 2. Can the mayor do anything to get Anacortes into phase 2 before the rest of the county? The governor has created parameters by which communities can move into phase 2, and it's by the county, not by the city. We are part of Skagit County, and for this phased reopening process of all communities in Skagit County, we must be united in our efforts in order to move through the phases as quickly as possible. Island Hospital is playing a critical role in helping the county show our preparedness for meeting the needs of residents in Anacortes. I talk to the health department several times a week, including this morning. And today, I jointly wrote a letter to the governor with the other mayors and the county commissioners requesting that we immediately be moved to phase 2. Question number 3. How are people supposed to behave during a protest and demonstrations? Can you be in the street? How are people supposed to behave when there are people in the road and there are cars trying to get through? The city supports and protects the citizens' rights to peacefully assemble. Public places will always be open to peaceful demonstrations, and the city will always support the public's First Amendment rights. Our concern for public safety, the city asks the protesters not to gather in the city streets and do not block access to private property or a business. If a group wishes to use the city streets for demonstrations, the city has a process to request a permit, which will allow groups to exclude vehicle traffic from the street and to avoid accidents and injury. We do hope that drivers will be patient, and if they do see people in the street, please turn and find an alternate route. We do not want any further exacerbate the situation, as there are many voices in the community that are fearful and angry. Please show grace and kindness in the face of this very difficult time and be respectful. City leaders, myself and the council, value the voice of the people that make Anacortes a community, and know that demonstrators, city administration, law enforcement can all work together to shape a brighter future for Anacortes. Question number 4. How is our police force trained so officers can cope with stressful situations? What training does the police department receive on racial bias? Our officers receive annual ongoing training that includes non-biased police training, critical incident and de-escalation training, and crisis intervention. The Basic Law Enforcement Academy now teaches a 40-hour block that focuses on de-escalation, non-biased policing, and cultural awareness. The law enforcement profession in our state receives more training in these topics than most other professionals. We continue to support our Anacortes Police Department as they protect and serve our community. Question number 5. Have you considered moving some police funding to alternate emergency response programs to deal with homelessness, mental health, and similar issues? Do the police currently receive training on how to interact with these vulnerable populations? While there are others who would be more suited to the work with the homeless, such as social workers and mental health professionals, in most communities, the police are the first point of contact with the homeless. Our park staff also have interaction with our homeless population and draw upon the support of the Anacortes Family Center and their professionally trained staff. Earlier this year, the Anacortes Family Center, the Police Department, and the Parks Department, and myself, we met on how to better coordinate this service and support for our community. Anacortes Family Center is available to assist us in interacting in our parks and on our city's lands as needed. Our park, police, and community organizations are working as a team to support the vulnerable homeless population in our area. In the past year, we have had specific training about recognizing and assisting people with mental health issues. The primary role of the police is to investigate and prevent crime. We would love to see more resources for mental health support so that our police can keep our community safe from crime. So that concludes our questions. And now I have some thoughts I want to share with all of you. I want to address the sadness and the outrage many of us are feeling over yet another Black person's life being lost in a senseless act of violence. Systemic racism is alive and well in our society, and we all need to do something to address this. As a white person in this country, I cannot fully understand racism. I have not lived it, but I have tried to my best ability to learn about systemic racism and how our society is impacted by this. The recent killings of Manuel Ellis in Tacoma, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and George Floyd highlighted within our country the persistence and the harmful racism experienced every day by communities of color. I want to acknowledge and honor the many African Americans who have lost their lives to extrajudicial killing across the country. I am heartbroken. I want to let individuals of color in Anacortes know that we respect you. We recognize your stories of trauma, inequity, and division. These deaths have brought our country collectively to the point of despair and hopelessness. A light has been shined on racial injustices in this country. We all support community members and are prepared to do the work required to examine our interpersonal and our institutional racism and work towards directly confronting the systems of inequity and enduring racial injustices that traumatize people. In the coming days, weeks, and months, I will be working with city staff, city council, and the community to identify ways to increase our awareness and understanding of racism, and identify additional positive action we can take to address this. We at the city strive to be the voice of unity, and the people of this community care. I want to state unequivocally that we are reinforcing our strong commitment at the city for confronting racism in our community. We hold ourselves to the highest standards of professionalism and integrity. We're prepared to ask difficult questions of how we can hold ourselves accountable for dismantling systems that have enabled in racism. I encourage all of you to expand your understanding of systemic racism and concepts of social justice. We must hold ourselves to the highest standards. I fully support the right of each and every person in this country to peacefully assemble and exercise their right to free speech. To all members of this community, I ask you to come together to combat injustice. I applaud all those in our community for standing up for what they believe in. Many have gathered recently to protest the unjust and the tragic deaths. I understand that everyone has a right to peacefully assemble to demonstrate. I hope that those who do are safe and have respect for already struggling businesses and the people suffering from sickness or loss due to COVID-19. In closing, I feel gratitude every day to be able to work for you, and with you. We have an amazing community of caring, compassionate individuals. My wish is that as a community, we will continue to find ways to build understanding, address inequities, and provide hope. Thank you all for being you, and good night.